You missed it.
There's that 3 or 4 second delay when you hit the go live to it actually goes live. I was trying to catch you, and
you didn't.
I'll get the next time. Good evening, folks. Welcome to unscheduled live. Actually, we were meant to be live, then we had to cancel, but then I thought, why not do a wee live anyway? And so tonight's, I'll get Rigga here, by the way. He's out there.
Cheers for having me on the show. It's the first time for coming on. It's a pleasure.
Keep going.
I know I was the last minute, do you want to come on and have a wee general chat on the show? No.
Seriously, you're meant to say stuff like, thanks for having me on. It's an honour to be here. I've heard a lot about yous, and I really admire yous, and I'm a big fan, and I've got all your albums.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's another thing. You know deep down that's what I think.
Evening, Dennis, young man. Hope you're doing well.
Dennis.
So tonight we have named this live Nothing in Particular because we have sod all to talk about in particular. We don't have a topic, subject, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. So we're just saying hi and then see where it goes from there. Now, Rigga might disappear the odd time. He's quite famous for this. He says it's his phone, but I think he's away to do something else. And just
the last time I was on your podcast, it never happened. But when I was on The Hangover, when we done The Hangover, it happened. And then I don't know if it's a setting or maybe the volume's up a certain amount or something, I don't know. But hopefully it doesn't.
Hi, Facebook user. Whoever it is watching on and off. Thanks for coming in. Anyway, as I say, we don't have a subject to whatever. But I will say something. You mentioned Amityville earlier on. You missed the Amityville show. Well, no, you didn't. You watched something, didn't you?
I did.
Obviously, we were all giving our opinions and blah, blah, blah on it. What's your thoughts on Amityville?
Hollywood's got a big part in it. Definitely. As I was saying, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty positive there's a family that stays there now. And I don't know how long they've been there, but as far as I'm aware, there's been no paranormal activity or anything like that. And as I say, Jailer, I think when Hollywood has got a lot of the story with the incident that happened in the was it
74.
I kind of think it's pretty disrespectful as well, as I mentioned earlier. Just the family and obviously what had happened. So, but they've seen it as a money maker, and it's like anywhere locations that you can book out for the night. It's all the same sort of idea. Just make names for themselves to make money. But obviously Hollywood, they've done it and they've had so many movies out about it and spin-offs and whatnot. I'm not saying that it's no, but I don't fully believe it is.
I see. Hey, there's a lovely Laura's in. Hi, Laura, though.
Where was my invite for dinner?
I had a lovely steak pie dinner at Laura's the other day. It was banging steak pie, roasties, and all the veg. It was absolutely lovely. You never got an invite because there'd been sort of all left for me. If you'd come up, you'd come up with it.
I never did get invites anyway. It's alright. Nobody likes me anymore.
Serious. Hold on. I'm going for my violin. No.
I borrowed it.
Can somebody invite Rigga for dinner, please? Doesn't matter where you live. Just invite him.
I'll be there.
But no, I mean, Amityville, it's as we say on Monday, I say on Monday night, the DeFeo murders, the filmmakers turned it into, they put a horror swing on it. And there's Sarah. Forgot what I was going to say. Sarah, need to invite Rigga for dinner, or tell Laura to invite Rigga for dinner. Somebody, please, because you'll not shut up.
How's about I come for lunch at yours and then go to Laura's for dinner?
There you go. There's your invite. Come for dinner anytime. Laura's, thanks you. Or thanks, Scott. You can come for dinner. Rigga. Now that's meant to say, Laura, thanks, Scott, you can come back for dinner.
Right, Scott, it was nice. Obviously, I'm away there now. You might hear a wee chat in your door in about 20 minutes. That's me coming for dinner, mate, right?
Right, well, I've got bread or I've got jam.
It's alright. Piece of jam, I don't mind.
You can't beat a piece of jam. But you know what? It doesn't taste the same anyway as it did when you were younger.
It's got to be a good jam, but again, it's dear. See, you want a proper jam, it's dear as well.
I like the Robertson's jam, blackcurrant jam. That's the stuff I like. Strawberry, but doesn't quite cut it. But
do you have butter on it, but?
No, you're nuts.
You just have plain jam.
My mum and my gran used to use that.
Do you know of like toasting jam?
No.
What?
No.
Toast a wee scraping of butter and then some jam?
No.
You tried it?
Aye. No likey. No likey. No. When I was away, we used to get pieces in butter with jam, and we loved it because we were Waynes and we didn't, and we ate all sorts of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you used to, what was the other thing with margarine and sugar or something like that?
Was that a quite well known thing in the early 1900s?
It was, aye, because we were rationed then and we didn't have very much to eat, so margarine and sugar on a piece. You used to put it on poultices or not? You know what a poultice is, don't you?
I don't.
Oh, for God's sake. A poultice is something, how can you describe a poultice? My mum used to put it, if we get a bad cut or something, they get a plaster and they put some margarine on it and sugar, put it on the plaster and then stick it on your arm. And this was meant to draw out all the crap.
Did it?
I can't mind, that was a way. Also, Rigga to get in, but I not favouritism much. That draws the pus out of the wound, basically. So there you go. Next time you fall, I would get Lindsay to put a wee plaster on it with.
That's faulty.
But you wonder where these things came from. I mean, when I was away as well, whenever we get a tooth out, I've told many a person this, whenever I get a tooth out, my gran, God rest her, she stayed with us, she used to use hot milk with bread broken up. So you get, like your soup, you break up the bread and throw it in, eat it with hot milk and put bread in it. And that's where we go after we get teeth out. Get that doing, your son, that'll help you.
Never heard of that either. What was the purpose of it, but?
I've got no idea. I was a kid, I didn't exactly write grammar, you sit down and explain the purpose of it.
No, it's like Tooth Fairy. Back also when you were younger, as I said, in the early 1900s, it was milk and a loaf of bread.
Milk and a slice of bread thrown in the bowl.
Nice.
It was horrible. Absolutely. Ugh, it was rank. But anyway, what were we saying? Aye, Amityville. The field murders. Hollywood put a horror spin on it. You know, because Ronnie had said at one point that he was, voices told him to blocks the cavity earlier. Possibly, aye. That could have been a thing. Maybe that was the reason why. That's a plausible reason there, aye. Because Ronnie DeFeo had said basically that he heard voices and the voices told him to do it. So back then, everybody was kind of jumping on the possession wagon, demons and blah, blah, blah. And Hollywood got wind of it and they decided to make the spin after he was possessed when he done it. And they made Amityville the possession. Which, as I said Monday night, was made the wrong way around.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first film, Amityville Horror, featured the Lutz family, and then the second one was the Field family. But it actually happened, the Fields came before the Lutzes. As far as the Lutzes are concerned, it's just my opinion, I think it was fake for money. Because there was just too many things didn't fit in. Same as the Field murders. Everybody just says it was Ronnie. He was the only one convicted. But all the evidence pointed to the sister being involved, Dawn, to being involved as well. But obviously, she was dead. So, but Ronnie took the full kind of blame it. But the Litsies, I think it was just for money. Because the story they made up was too run-of-the-mill demonic stuff, flies, slime coming out the walls and all this kind of stuff. It was right out of a book, basically. Not right, but this is, as I say, this is just my opinion.
Well,
and I'm short for it, who knows?
There was a part in the podcast also when Nick brought up the photo of the child, a well-known, obviously, photo in the paranormal world. And you were having a debate about that, and I was thinking it was yourself that says it could have been child of the crew member and stuff like that. Added in, and I put a comment. I can't remember what it was, but it was like if that picture was took in another location with a less known paranormal team or whatever, would it have been as famous? It wouldn't have been, because what's made it famous is the fact of the films.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's made that photo famous. If you take, especially in this day, and the way the paranormal is in Uwe, bloody hell, they carry on in this. If you actually captured that and it was legit and you'd captured that, you'd be shot down for that off a lot of people, saying it was fake and stuff like that. So in the sense, I kind of see, I can't say that it's no fake, but to me, I just think that it possibly is just a child, and the fact that who was there investigating, the production company is ready to get a film made and stuff like that, and that's to help bring the revenue in, essentially.
Well, there was a story. It was one of the kids. There was a kid in one of the TV crews, and Nicky said on Monday, because the Edinburgh Warren investigated the house, and a news crew came in when they were doing it, and somebody says it was one of the kids of the news crew. But if you look at I don't know, if you look at the photo and then you look at the photo of one of the field kids, there's a very, very uncanny resemblance to them.
But then you take into consideration the quality of the cameras and that back then as well. They were near as clear as what we've got in this day and age. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd love for it to be real. As I say, I can't say that it's no, and I can't say that it is. Just my opinion. I just think that if it was took somewhere else, obviously without the Amityville name and stuff like that, it would never be as big in the paranormal world as what it is since it's been took in that house. I'd love to get a capture like that. Like, I genuinely think I would greet if I got a capture like that.
Aye, because you're quite bubbly on investigation.
I say it all the time. You've probably heard me saying it. Like, I'll always say things like, my mind goes 100 mile an hour, which it does when I'm out in the field. And that's the kind of first thing I'll say to people if it's their first time coming out with us. Look, I'll get excited, you know what I mean? And I always just picture that one thing to happen. Whether it's you set up a cat ball or you set up a camera or whatever. Like with the footage that showed in The Hangover, I think I showed you it as well, when we set up a static cam and you hear me leave and go down the stairs, and the whole point was, but this was in the private home investigation Saturday, the whole point was the forage we're going to do, we're going to take a wee break away for it, get a wee cup of tea, coffee, drink, snack, whatever, bit of fresh air, 15-20 minutes, and then I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go and set that static cam up there when we get an activity on the top landing. So that's what I've done. And then you hear me leaving and get into the living room in the distance and saying, that's that set up. And then what you hear after, I think it's 44 seconds, and it's on this big page, and you hear it sounds like a breath or a sigh. Something that's so close to the camera. It's total. And when I heard it the first time, because I never expected it, and I heard it and I was like, and I got all excited. And then I'm listening back to it and I'm watching it. And I've got earphones in just to see if it was one of us. But the volume for us to that is totally different. And that is right at the camera. And interestingly enough, we got the same type of sigh of breath coming through the recorder as well before that. round about the same area as well.
See, there's been a guy on Facebook the past couple of days. I'm not going to name him, but he seems to be slamming the paranormal field in many. He's talking about EVPs. He's talking about ghost hunters and cat balls, K2s. Why? I was going to say private investigators. Paranormal investigators, put paranormal investigator on their tops, and he's just getting ripped right into everything but he's in the paranormal field himself.
Oh, that's a surprise.
But he's getting ripped in to just about everything. And folk have said that he's just doing it to get attention, to get feedback, to get comments on his page for the algorithms, I think it is. He's just attacking everything, and he was talking about EVPs and saying they're not real. How it's no 100% real. And I was commenting on his stuff yesterday, and I says to him basically, he was talking about the K2.
Mm-hmm.
We use the K2, and I says we're aware. What was it? He says use teams follow. Can't remember what they used, but it was set doing ideas. He's kind of follow into TV shows and stuff like that. He's a brainwashed basically. And I says, no, we don't try and mimic TV shows, and that's not what we do. Says we use the K2. I says we're well aware that the K2 can be manipulated. There's 101 times can set it off. I says, but my argument is if you've got a K2 sitting dormant for a period of time, you ask a question and you get a response for the K2 on that question, and then you leave it and it goes dead again to your next. Says we count that as unexplained. We don't say it's paranormal because we can't prove it's paranormal. And I try to say, there isn't anything that's 100% proof that something is paranormal. But of course, you get all these balloons out there that are saying, "Oh, this is paranormal." I saw a post the other day, but they're bragging about a certain location. Rigga, Charlie in the chat knows it as well. Sarah and Laura know it. They've got the greatest paranormal capture ever in history, but they don't show you.
But why even put capture in it then?
Exactly.
So, it's got to be back in 2. It's starting already.
As I said.
Apologies, mate. I do apologise. 2 seconds, man.
He does this all the time, folks. His phone just gives up the ghost, pardon the pun. And we'll be back in about 10 seconds or something, hopefully. Otherwise, you're stuck with me for the next 40, 50 minutes, which, you really don't want, because I know I can gab, but eventually you kind of run out of steam. But he should be back, in a wee minute. Be a ways. Yes, he'll be back, trust me. He will be back. Hopefully. He better be back, or I'm in trouble. Or a user in trouble. Oh, there you see what I mean? Hold on. What do you think? We'll be letting back in. Should be letting back in.
Apologies. It started quite early. I think it's if I've got my volume up, max, it starts. So I've kind of turned it down a bit. So my hearing's kind of like yours. It's hard to hear you.
You saying I'm deep?
No. With the capture side of thing, if it's always important to. Now, we always talk about getting static cam. We'll get round to getting cameras set up, static cams, whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8 of them or something. But it's always important to try and capture, whether that's photo, footage, audio. That is what you want. You want to capture stuff like that. So if you get this amazing thing that's never been captured, you're plastering that, not just on your page. Try to plaster that through the whole paranormal field. You're getting that out there, and you're going to get negative comments, which you're going to get. But you're going to get positive ones, and you're going to get well done and this and that. But you want to show that you have got that. You're going to get a lot of jealousy with it as well. But that's what comes with it. But that doesn't matter because you know and the team know that it's legit, and that's what matters. But any footage you've got, whether it's paranormal or it's not, if you don't believe it, it's unexplainable. You want to get that up and get it shared so as people can see. We always do things like we like to try and record us debunking stuff as well, so we can get that up in the hangover, so as people can see that we're actually debunking stuff and basically saying, look, as you said earlier, things that happen doesn't necessarily mean it's paranormal. You know what I mean? Like when you go to the K2, there's so many K2s out there now, and some are so mega sensitive than others. You know what I mean? I bought two K2s about 2 weeks ago, and they're super sensitive. I could be 8 foot, 10 foot away from it, and it'll go if I've got my phone near it. So they ones we're going to tend to keep maybe as a trigger object. You know what I mean? But obviously, scope round about where we are first, as you do, make sure you're not getting any spikes and stuff like that. And then we're going to set them up as trigger objects and maybe ask a question while that's through a walkie-talkie or whatever. And walkie-talkies can affect the K2s, but that's something we'll keep an eye on. But if you get, you know yourself, if you're getting something that's unexplainable, you're wanting to get that shit, you're wanting to get that up.
You want folk to see, you know. I know a couple of teams that will say, you know, we were out last night and we got fantastic evidence and stuff, but you never see it. You say, well, if you're going to put on your page that you've got this incredible capture, then let people see it. You know, show it.
You'll get people who say that we've got last night's investigation or whatever, and it sounds like I'm having a go at teams. It just annoys me, but getting through footage, once we get through footage, we'll get it up or whatever, and you never see it. You know what I mean? Well, that's just been, I can't even bother going through the footage, or well, that's been they've not got it. You know what I mean? But they don't share that either. So I don't know. I just think if you're out, you want to try and capture as much as you can. Look at that location that we had booked just as Big started, and that day, the guy that runs it, or I think he owns it, he's his caretaker or whatever. He emailed me saying, "Is there going to be photos and videos took or whatever, recordings and stuff?" And I says, "There is." And he says, "Well, we can't have you at the property then." And this is a day of the investigation, and we've already paid the money behind me. And I was like, "What?" And he said, "We can't." I says, "That's the whole point. We want to try and capture things, so we're going to need to document it." And he's like, "Well, we can't help you."
I think I know the location you're talking about.
I was like, "What?" You want to go there and document as much as you can, and you know yourself as well. If you're talking amongst yourself and the cameras are doing or the phones are doing or whatever, activity can happen, and it's trying to get that camera or phone or whatever to capture. You know what I mean? Capture something you can't explain. Cat ball going or moving or whatever. I remember we used to do a private investigation a lot, and we always set the cat ball up. I was telling Liz actually, this was before Liz and Stephen was in the team, and we were there, up the stairs in the landing, and we always sat the cat ball, demon doll, cat ball to the left hand side of the door frame, demon doll to the right, and that's where we always sat them, because the owner said that's where he was kind of getting activity and seeing figures and stuff like that. So we thought maybe a couple of wee toys, put them about. So we'd done this for weeks upon weeks while we're going, and then it rolled into months. Same again, cat ball, demon doll. And it just happened to be me and David were coming up the stairs, and we were coming up, and we were going to end the live, or we were going to move the live, or whatever it was. And just as we were about to turn it off, the cat ball had rolled from one side of the door frame to the other. And when I say rolled, it literally went super speed, and then it just stopped. And it stopped. And we couldn't explain it for the reason being it never ever happened before, and it never happened after it. Like the door idea, but it never ever happened. And we captured that, luckily enough, and we were on the live, and people on the live seen it. But I got it all screen recorded, try to clean it up a bit, and I made sure I posted that. But you'll get the people obviously that'll say, is it possible that the floorboards, well, they might think that's maybe our first investigation, you know what I mean? But it's explaining them, look, we've been here for X amount of months now, always set up in the same area, and the cat ball moved, and it wasn't the case it just rolled like just to this. It literally went about 2 foot, 3 foot. It just went. If you ask David about it, he'll say the same. I've got the footage on the Spig page. It just went and just stopped. But we managed to capture that just as we were going to end the live, and because we got that, that was it. As soon as I was done, this was before the hangover. As soon as we finished the investigation, I think that night of the investigation it was posted up. Let us know your thoughts. Because you feel good about it. You feel good at the fact that you've captured this thing that you can't explain. You just something's happened.
You do. I agree. And you do. If you get a really good capture, it's like Caldwell when we caught that. We were up the top flare and the K2 get knocked out. We go that in camera, but we tried to bunk it, and I sent the footage to Charlie as well, and he looked at it and we couldn't debunk it, and we felt really good, and we put it on the page. The trouble is with some teams, they get a good capture, best of luck to them, but they go on and on and on and on about it. They never let it go, whereas you get a good capture, you're all chuffed, you're happy, you wee self pat in the back, so that was a good one, and then you carry on, and then, but saying sometimes you get one of your greatest captures, you'll miss. Take like we were at Loudon on Friday night. There was Laura, myself, and the guy that owns the Debster Cottage. And you've been at Loudon many a time. You've been with us as well quite a few times. The Debster headstone down the back. We put the K2 and the REM pod on the same places we always put them. Just before we started the live, and I was showing Laura how to go live on her phone, and the guy for the Denver's got he didn't want to be on camera for different reasons. Somebody's saying hello to David and hello to
David boy. I was just David. If you're just jumped on, sorry Scott. If you just jumped on there, David, I was just filling Scott in with the cat ball and the private investigation that we used to do. How we always set it up and stuff like that, and how it moved.
Hello, ladies. I don't know who that is.
Oh, hello, matron. I don't know who that is either.
If you type your name in the comments, whoever the culprit is, then we'll be able to identify you. So the guy that owns the colleges, he was sitting about 10 feet away, just at the headstones. David. Here's that, David. And I was just about to show Laura how to go live, and the REM pod getting knocked off the headstone. And Laura and I, we kind of seen it. We heard it, and Tiggy heard it and all. But there was no reason for it. There was nothing that disturbed it. And I sat it back up, and it never moved the rest of the night until I moved it myself. It's there. And so we, that stuff like that. You can't. Why did that REM pod come off? And it was later on when we were using the K2. Even though this guy was ripping apart, and for the responses we were getting, and we got some through the necro as well, indicating it was Christina Dempster. And that says, do you not like these boxes being on here? If you don't like them being on here, light the box up. And the K2 lit up. I says, you know, like this one, point to the REM pod, light the box up, and it lit up. So I says, right, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll move it. And I took it off and I put it in the ground. And it was later on, I thought, it was the next morning, I thought, what if it was Christina that knocked that? Some folk might think talking crap, but what if it was Christina that knocked that REM pod off? Because she kind of indicated later that she didn't like it there. Never moved the K2, it was the REM pod that got it. And I don't know how many investigations we've done there, and we've sat that REM pod in the exact same position every time. And just this one particular time, it decided, I'm coming off of there. And that was just before they pressed the live button. It was the same with the door. The first time the door went, I was literally 2 seconds for hitting the button and the door shut. So sometimes you do get things that will happen, and you just don't catch it on camera.
Yeah, all the time. It's as if the spirit's going, they're not showing me any interest. You know what I mean? Like, but again, it could be down to, we find as well at this big location now, we've tried getting in all gun hole, we've been in different methods, ideas, started at different areas of the location, and then we're speaking about getting in less as possible. So we did one night, and I think we went in with the recorder. It was a few months ago when I'm the recorder. I think it was just myself, David, and Stephen. It was like a recorder, a cat on a rain pod. And the whole point it was to see, rather than so much equipment there, possibly could confusing the spirits that are there, it takes them away, takes their attention away for the equipment, and then to us, and see if they can use anything else from the book. You know, and when we went, it was like, we heard, I'm going to say the usual, just because we're that used to hearing it. Voices, coughing, whistling, running, footsteps, shuffling in the corner of a room, paper getting shuffled in the room. And that possibly could be, although you get it when you take so much equipment anyway, you don't get as much, it doesn't seem as if you get as much than we did that night. And it's possible maybe because we only went in with minimum. You know, the spirits are expecting us to go in with all the lights and the works, you know, and the noises and the toys and all that sort of stuff, but we took that away. So
see, I agree. I think that way as well because, like say, Friday, all we had was the K2 at the REM pod with one cat ball. There's a put on the ground and forgot about it. It was the K2, the REM pod, and with the Necro running, and we seem to be getting intelligent responses through the K2. We're just using basically sod all.
Mm-hmm.
We did get words through the necrophonic when we asked questions because the owner of the cottage, he's tried, the cottages date back to the 1800s. They were built by James Dempster and his family. It's a farm. And so obviously with the age that they are, some parts that are, you know, not in great condition. So he's trying to restore it to its original condition. But he did tell us a few weeks ago, we were up and he told us, we were up about 2 weeks ago, he told us the same thing, that when he started renovating, things started happening up at the cottages. Now, they've been there for quite some time. There's another guy that lives in them. And it was just when they started the restoration work that it's just things started to happen up at the cottage, things would go wrong, etc. So Friday night, I just says, you know, I says, is it you and Mr. Dempster that's up at that visit the cottages? Now, first thing I asked was, do you know this gentleman here? He lives in your old cottage. And he came back, yes. And says he's working at the cottages. You know, he's trying to fix them up. Says, is it you and Mr. Dempster that, because we found that James Dempster will not reply to James. You need to use his full name before you'll get any kind of response.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but it's just, you know, that's the way it is. But we says to, you know, as he visit the cottage, and we go a yes, and then we says, you know, what was your favourite part of I keep saying cottage, it was a farm basically, and he says the barn. Now a lot of folk I know the necrophonic gives out random words and stuff, but when you're asking a direct question and you get a female voice coming back saying yes, and then the barn.
Mm-hmm.
You think, you know, is it, I don't like to say it's paranormal, but it does tie in to what's been happening. And the cottages are only about a quarter of a mile away. And another weird thing happened. When we first started investigating Loudon, about 2 years ago or something, we were told, but sure it's through an investigation, bits and pieces we gathered together. There was see where the cottage is, there's a big road that leads up to it. Sir and Mr. Dempster but in those days manners were profound and males were sir and ladies ma'am or miss, so it's respectful. Aye, but you see, well, look at that night you and me did, Loudon, and you seen the shadow. And then I said, with the K2 going, no, the K2, the Necro going, and I says, was that you, Mr. James Dempster? And he came back, no, like straight away, a strong male voice saying, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we used his full name. But we'd managed to piece together way back about a young boy that sat happy up the lane, the least of the cottages. And I was telling Tiggy about it on Friday night. He says, you know, that's weird because there was an old guy who used to live in the cottage. He's since moved away, but he told the story of a brother and sister that were there. And the boy used to sit, he says, halfway up the lane, there's a big kind of rock. Says, and he used to sit there and look down towards Galston. Because back then there wasn't any trees there. The village of Galston. He says, so that's really weird that you say that because there was a young boy sat there. So obviously we're going to investigate the lane anyway. See if we can, you know, pick up on it. But I mean, it's all. What's the word? I can't think of the word. The man's name was the guy, Elijah, used to live because that's Laura Doll. Summation or something the word is. You know, these wee bits and pieces, you can only surmise that they all fit together, but they do tend to fit together. Mm-hmm. And some folk might laugh it off. Fair enough, that's their view, their opinion. But when you get all these wee different pieces of the puzzle that seem to click in, then you think, well, maybe there is something to this.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I think we've spoken about it before plenty of times. Like, I do strongly believe if rather than going to a location once and then no return or returning 6 to a year down the line, I think if you go on a regular basis, not to say that it's the same spirit there all the time, but at some point if you go on a regular basis, possible that you might come into contact with the spirit that you did your first time there, and then getting them to understand. The thing is, like, we'll never fully understand the paranormal, right? We're only going with what we're able to document and stuff like that. So essentially, we're confused about it and stuff. Spirits will be the same, you know. Like, you could go to a location for the very first time, and it's the first time this spirit's been able to actually communicate with somebody that's living. I mean, that must be so frustrating, and they must get agitated, and they might think it's wonderful and it's great. They might be scared of the equipment that we use. We'll say, oh, it's designed not to hurt you. How do we know that? You know what I mean? Oh, it's these black boxes and this and that. And I've seen it myself. And they're designed so don't hurt you, so come forward and use it. We don't know that, but you know what I mean? You've got the REM pod that makes, you get REM pods that make a racket of noise. You know what I mean? And the thing is, spirit might, I mean, their sound might be amplified, and it's, you know, and it scares them away. I use a screaming box. I don't really like to use it often because it's called the screaming box, and it's, you've heard it yourself, it's a bloody racket. But again, you could use that as a trigger object. But if a spirit crosses that and it goes, that spirit might go, well, do you know something? I've tried to build trust with you, and X, Y, and Z, and this and that, and you've just caught me with that, and I, you know, get all agitated and uptight and stuff. So a lot of equipment in that can definitely affect your communication, your contact with spirit, 100%. Like,
I mean, the other thing I was saying about this on Friday night, when we were doing the investigation, we were getting on quite well at the Dempster plot, and you see a lot of these teams and they're doing an investigation and they're getting plenty of evidence, you know, plenty of responses, and then they call it a night. And you think to yourself, why? You know, keep going. But then, and Friday night, we were getting quite a few responses, and I says, you know, do you not want us here? if you want us to leave, light up that box. If you want us to leave. But then at the same time, the box didn't light up, so that was fine. But then I thought, well, if that box lights up, we need to leave. And some people might say, why? Why do you need to leave? And my way of thinking is you've told that spirit, you say Christina, you've told Christina, look, light that box up and we'll leave. And say she does it, and you don't leave, then is she seeing that as they're lying to me?
Mm-hmm.
So any trust you've built up, is that right out the window? Whereas, as much as you don't want to there, if you do leave, the next time you get back, if you get Christina again, she go, well, they were here before. They said to leave when they did, so I can trust them.
But then on the same hand as well, like, although I know what you're saying, like obviously you'll leave, that's fine. So you have left, but what to say if there's not been another team there before, whether it's the same day, they've been there during the day or the day before, and they've asked the same question. You know what I mean? If it lights will no leave, and they don't leave, so you've asked that question, and it's never going to happen because, as you said, Christina could go, right, well, somebody's here before and they've already asked me this and they've no left, so you know what I mean. So people that go to these, especially abandoned well-known locations, you know what I mean. These teams that go and stuff, they might go as professional as possible, but there's a high chance you'll get teams there that go absolutely disrespectful. So then you're going along with your team, and then that, say it's Loudon, that but you're building up with and trust and all that sort of stuff could get absolutely destroyed. Because what it really does take is for a team that's absolutely disrespectful, doing it for this X, Y, and Z views, whatever, faking it and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Absolute disrespect the location as well as the spirits. You could then go again and get absolute negativity. So it's possible that's how sometimes if you go to a location you get next to nothing. Is there a reason why? Is it because there's been people there? Not necessarily paranormal investigators, but just people there, young ones there, playing music and drinking and stuff like that. The night before or the same day, just before you go, they've left and the activity's flat. You know what I mean? And that's a possibility as well. You could build all this trust, and then really all it does take is for a team or two or just a person to go and absolutely disrespectful. You know what I mean? Effing and being or whatever. And then that's you, that the spirit's like, well, we don't trust anybody. You know what I mean? You're going along there investigating, and it's like, nope, we're not communicating with you.
It only takes one person to spoil a pot of soup.
That's it. And it's murder. You know what I mean? But there's nothing you can really do about it.
There isn't, because no location's exclusive to a team. We do Loudon a lot, but it's no our location. We'll never ever say, right, well, that's your place, nobody else is gone, because you can't do that. No location belongs to anybody, no unless it's the owners of the land or something, basically. But
well, big location.
Well, I know.
But we know obviously when we're not at the Spig location, there is nobody there investigating it. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing about it, because then you can, if it is such a thing, build trust. You know what I mean? And earlier in the show, you were talking about this guy that was mocking EVPs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You know yourself, like, out of that location, we've had some absolutely mind-blowing EVPs.
Mm-hmm.
We went, I remember, myself, David, Nicola when she was mod, and Lindsay went along, and we got an EVP, and David said, can you give me the name of the two females that are here? And we went, we got an EVP, clear as day, it said, 2 new faces. It was our first time there, it was our first time at the location, and we got 2 new faces. I can't explain that. And see the recorder, I don't know if it's because it's proper, it's like the DR60, like top of the range, and it absolutely blows my mind. And it's not to say that everything comes through, is somebody speaking, because obviously if you're out 8 o'clock at night or something, you're going to get, depending where you're going to get background noise and cattle and stuff like that. But when you're in a location that's dead silent, like totally silent,
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting responses, intelligent responses, maybe to your questions, or as we tend to do, we'll leave it sitting and we'll come back. You know what I mean? I've been called a fat bee and stuff like that. You cannot explain that. And to me, I don't like to say, oh, it's paranormal, but that's one thing I can say is, because you can't explain it. There's no
Well,
reason why anything should be coming through that.
I mean, that night we were all there. I was mentioned this before a few times. We were coming out that room, and everybody heard the little girl say, "Was it hello or hi there or something?"
Was it, hi, I'm here?
It was hi, yeah, sort of, because we all heard it at the
That
same
was
time.
hiya. Hiya.
So, I mean, EVPs, etc., some of them can be debunked, blah, blah, blah. But when everybody hears, and that was the true an EVP, that was
Brilliant news.
in the corridor. When everybody hears the same thing, then you need to say, right, wait a minute, what was that? I mean, you do get times where you hear something. There was one time we done Caldwell, and we took, this is before ourselves collaborated, we did call and we took another team there during the day, because I wanted to see what results, and I found that this day quite interesting. We'd been to Caldwell a few times, and we'd always get evidence, we'd always get responses, etc. So we invited this other team along, and they're a well-known team, genuine, they weren't idiots or anything. So what I did first was I gave them a wee tour, just to show them where to go and where not to go. And we were doing the stairs in the basement in one of the rooms, and I think it was 4 of them and myself, and we're standing in the room, and all I heard was a why, a woman's why. And I turned around right away and looked at them, and they were just talking. I says, did you hear that? No. I says, you've never heard that? A woman's rough voice saying why? Now I know I heard it, plain as day, but neither of them heard it, and they were maybe 5-6 feet away from me. They were in the same room, but I heard it as clear as day. And that day, I found that day interesting, because what we did is we went down in the basement, and we said, we'll split up, use do the stairwell, because the stairwell seemed to be the main focus where there was activity. So he says, use the stairwell, and we'll go down the basement for an hour, and then we'll swap room. So that's what we did. I think we got very little in the basement that day. Very, very little, for what I remember. But, the hour was up, so I went up the stairs and says to them, right, that's kind of the hour's up. How did you get on? I didn't ask any details. He said, we get nothing. One of their teddies moved a tiny little bit, he says, and that was it. I said, that's a shame. She said, right, you want to swap room? And so they went down into the basement, and we done the stairwell, and more or less right away, we were getting activity. Straight away, and we done it as a live. And we were getting activity straight away. And they says, no, we get absolutely nothing. So that made me think, well, do the spirits here now know us?
Mm-hmm.
But they know this other team, and that's why they weren't want to come forward.
Right.
It was the same as another time. There was Sarah, Laura, and me, and we went back to Caldwell during the day, and I basically get told to sod off, that they wanted to talk to the lassies and no me. So I went for a wander down in the basement, and Laura and Sarah done the investigation, because I wasn't wanting to talk to a woman. They didn't want to get there. And it was,
you see me get that a lot as well. Like spirit, possible maybe a child spirit, that they kind of tend to get more comfort and stuff, like off a female. Like there's times where we've been to locations and it's like 3-4 guys, standing in black and standing up and stuff like that. I always like to kind of tend to get down low, but seems to be you don't really get much. But then if there's a female there and maybe the other self or two females, they seem to start getting more activity or more communication, we'll say, to what the males would. So I believe that's possible. It could be a child.
Actually, I just wasn't wanted. I was the same with Loudon and Friday. Laura seemed to be getting more responses, and the other bit we went to, she seemed to get more responses than I did, and that's where we picked up on Lisa and James, the wee girl, and her dad James, Ian.
Ian.
And we did get Ian. I'm convinced we get Ian through the necrophonic 3 or 4 times at that spot. But you know yourself, sometimes the words that come through the necrophonic are that fast.
You used to be able to record the session.
Did I not hear it?
You used to be able to record it and listen back to it. But you can't do that. You can't even screen record. But I know the juries out in the necro and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine because it's an app. It could be designed for entertainment purposes and that. But with some of the stuff we've had coming through has been ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like we did obviously the Spirit's Eye experiment where did a blind spirit box, somebody in the live will give a number, we'll write it on the board. Person obviously that's conducting the experiment doesn't know the number, doesn't know when it's wrote down, and we'll ask the spirit, if you can see this number, let the person, obviously, if it's Liz, can you say Liz what the number is? And we've had the number, and then we thought, right, maybe it's just a coincidence, and then we've done a shape, I think it was triangle, and we've had triangle. Like, I'm talking about instant, no like 20 minutes, like instant. It happened twice. We've had it. First time was at the private investigation I told you about with the ball, and I'm pretty sure the second time was whatever it was. It was another abandoned location. So we've had that, and it's mind blowing. And it's not just the once it's happened. You know what I mean? And some stuff we've had through. We've had names coming through, and then we thought, right, well, since we've had the name, I think it was Edward coming through, what we'll do is we'll try it through the recorder. And we've had Edward coming through the recorder, and then we would try it through the spirit box, and we've had Edward coming through the spirit box in the space of 10 minutes.
It's just this. I mean, we're offered debunking, but you need to debunk as much as you possibly can.
100%. Like, see if you sit and listen to that necro, it'll go for 10 minutes, right? If you listen to it for 20 minutes or something, I think, don't quote me on this, but if you were to sit and listen to it, eventually you'll hear the same word coming out. Like, there's a bit in it where it sounds like a woman going, ah, or whatever it is. If you're doing a half an hour session, say with the necro for talking sake, you'll hear that, ah, maybe about 3 times. As if every 10 minutes that'll come out. But if you listen closely, you will. But then, to me, it just sounds like there's words that come through that are totally different from what's coming through the necro. Like broad Scottish accents are coming through. And things like that, you know what I mean? But you can kind of pick that out, and it's good when everybody hears it. But again, you get words that come out and you think, if you've asked a question, you're waiting for a name, and you know the name, you know what I mean? It's you think you've heard that name coming through when you've not. It's things like that. So, but I do think, I know a lot of teams use it and stuff like that, and a lot of teams are against it, but we've had some good stuff with it, and we'll carry on using it.
Well, we're going to keep using it. I mean, I would like Emery to try and debunk any evidence we've got. They're welcome to, and if they debunk it, if they can give us a reasonable explanation for it, a logical explanation for it, fair enough. It won't be the first time we've been proved wrong. But I mean, there's times where there's two coming I mean, there's quite a few times. There's two coming in my head. One involves you, as when we did Loudon and you done the blind spirit box, you were standing beside where the crypt is. And we must have been a good 20, 30 feet away from you, something like that. And I said, in a low voice, I think we were doing it as alive. Can you tell me what the little girl's name is? that still wanders here, and you came out more or less straight away, Lisa. And then what we did is we asked you another 2 times, but at different times, we left gaps, and then I just throw it in again.
Mm-hmm.
And you came out 3 times, you came out with the name Lisa. A different, 5 minute, 10, whatever the interval was. I'd like somebody to explain that to me.
I know. That is mind blowing. Especially as you say, if you're coming up with the responses that you're getting to your questions. Sometimes, like we were out the other night and we've had Scott. He's been out twice with us, and during the necro, I always say to somebody when they're first doing it, look, be prepared obviously for your sight to go and your hearing to go and stuff like that. You could feel claustrophobic, you know what I mean? The room or whatever's sucking in on you and whatnot. But at any point, just put your hand up, we'll get you out. But he didn't, fair play. But I also say to them, doesn't matter what you hear, you know what I mean? Say it. Just say it. Doesn't matter. Because you don't know what questions we're asking.
Mm-hmm.
But there was during at one point, and I don't know. Now, when I heard this, never thought anything of it, but when we done the hangover 2 weeks ago, I think it was covering it. He said, Liz, make me a sandwich. Right? So he's shouting this is what he said. But usually when we're out investigating, Liz will usually mention that she's gone home, she's got a sandwich, she's made a sandwich to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime we're out, she'll usually talk about I'm going home to a ham sandwich or whatever. So it's more likely that she spoke about going home for a sandwich in this big occasion multiple times. And it's like they're mocking her. You know what I mean? Liz, make us a sandwich. The Scott didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It could just be a thing. But the more I thought about it, I was like, is that possible that the spirits kind of mocking her? Like, Liz, make us a sandwich since you're always talking about you're getting home for a sandwich.
Because, that still the spirits of a sense of humour. Same as they did in this life, who's to say,
No, definitely.
But it's no we're trying to convince anybody the paranormal exists. It's just that we've picked up evidence. We're not trying to boast or say we're fantastic, because we're not. We're just a small team that do it with day. But I mean, take the train station, for instance, when Laura used her phone and she just sat it down on the table and listened back to it. I think we spent the best part of a week or something listening through it, and you can hear clearly a female, I think it's a young female's voice saying, one is, can you hear my mother? Now this isn't an app, this is just a phone. And it says, can you hear my mother? Another one is, she says, I'm standing in the corner through a phone. No apps running, nothing. So I'd like somebody to explain that. There was numerous other ones, that's the two that could pop into my head. That I'd like somebody to explain that to me. Same as when we were done Culwin and Abbey. We didn't use an app. We had Laura had an act. Laura's deaf, and she called it a listening device. I called it a Walkman. Well, you seen it. It was like the microphone with the headphones. I used to think it was a Walkman. Drove her nuts. But what we did one night is we went to Culwin and Abbey and we stuck her in the corner, and I went over to the other corner with a whiteboard. And it was something similar to what we used it. And we done it as a live, and I says, somebody in the chat tell me what to put on this board, and somebody tell me to put on circle. So I drew a circle, and all I says was, can you tell me what I've got in this board here? And Laura was a good 20 feet out there. She was the other side of the room. And I had the board facing me. And I said, can you tell me what I put in the board here? And it came back. It took a few minutes. But it came back. She says, circle. And we get 4 intelligent responses to stuff I'd drawn on this board. And the reason we did it, we asked people in the chat, was so that nobody could say that was pre-planned. You knew. That's how we just done it random.
When we went to the crypt, and it was Scott. It was his first time. he's interested in it, but he'd never ever experienced it out with a team or anything like that. And also, we couldn't get a signal. Well, that's when we were going live, but it was dipping in and out, and the gimbal was playing up and whatnot. But we conducted the Blind Spirit box, and we won the live, so I thought it was only right to say to Scott, explain to him, and then say, I think it was, who was it was on it? Might have been me, I can't remember who was conducting it. But he said the number, because the way I seen it is, although it's his first time, and he might fully trust us, but there might still be that wee doubt that we've planned it. You know what I mean? So if Liz was or Stephen was conducting and I went, right, Liz, what we'll do is we'll write number 7. You know what I mean? And then it's like, right, Stephen, once you've got this on, count to 10 and then say number 7. You know what I mean? That's the way I think. And then Scott might go, oh, that's brilliant. You know what I mean? But then there might be that wee thing in the back of you going, well, did they plan that? Wherefore he had the opportunity to give any number, and he picked, I can't remember what the number was, and he picked the number. So if that was to come out, then there's nothing in the back of his mind that should say, right, well, obviously they've planned this. And I think that's the way you should always think.
You should. I think you should. It's the same as you see these teams who do events, and it's only the members of the team. You know, you see their data is alive, and it's only the members of the team. They'll do the experiments. The guests, they just stand about and watch. To me, that's wrong. We don't do events, and I'm not an expert in doing them, but if you're inviting people along to an event, then if I was paying 20, 30, 60 pounds, whatever the hell it was, I'd want to take part in it.
Well, the thing is, as well, you could be fully legit. You know what I mean? And if it is just a team that's conducting this, and if it is an event, as you say, and there is members of public there, and the team is properly legit, and they do get the answers that they're looking for, whether it's through Spirit's Eye or whatever, and they're legit about it, and that's fine, it's came through, it's unbelievable. But just in my mind, I'm sitting thinking, although you're legit, there's going to be somebody there that goes, well, you knew what the number was going to be. So that's why you get them involved. You know what I mean? You get them with the earphones on, or get them involved as possible. You know what I mean? And get them part of it. Because then there shouldn't be any doubt in their mind. I just think it's an important thing. You know what I mean? We've had a good few people who will always get them involved. Some are like, nah, maybe I don't want to try it this time, which is absolutely fine. Because a lot of people, I'd imagine, their mind goes 100 mile an hour, and they think all sorts if they're out in the middle of the woods in the pitch black with people they've never met, or they're at whatever, with people they've never met. A nervous thing, you know what I mean? They just don't. But some are like, aye, fine, straight in. But always get them involved.
Some will just jump into the deep end with others, well, I like to see what happens first, and then I might give it a go. Which is rough, but you need to involve. If you bring somebody along to your event, your investigation, whatever, then you need to, get them involved if they don't.
Definitely. I couldn't let. There was one went to, and it was hosted and stuff, and it was an absolute waste of time. You know what one. And I actually felt bad for the people that came along. It was nothing to do with me. I actually went out my way, and at that point, basically just asked to come along. Obviously, not to host, not to take part, just to take part in it, but not to obviously help out and stuff. So which didn't they? But I seen the host and stuff like that. Wasn't interested in the members of public, and just dribs and drabs. They were just leaving and leaving and leaving. And it just happened to be, I thought, you know what, this is, I actually felt bad. And I was like, I need to get involved here. And there was 3 left, and I was going to say, right, do you 3 want to come with me and I'll show you. I always like to show the equipment and explain what it's about. That's what I was going to do, and take them into a room. But just as I was about to do that, 2 left, so I only left at 1. So I got that boy involved. And he was so excited about it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to explain to him stuff, and he's like, no, but should that happen? Oh, no, what's that? And just to see that, you know what I mean? Getting them interacting. But there's a lot of people there that just, they're not interested, they just want to go and get members of the public out, and they'll not even entertain them. Maybe throwing a couple of sandwiches or something. I don't know. But they only see it for the money side of things. It's wrong. I felt crap that day, because I was like, what? Do you know what it felt like? Although I wasn't any part of hosting it or anything like that, but it just felt like, right, if they know what the team is, Spig, then they're going to slaughter Spig. They're going to think that we're there to we're part of hosting it and stuff.
That's it. I mean, we were there, and I didn't know they were. I thought they were part of a team or something. I didn't know they were.
That's what it felt like.
Because nothing was explained. We just went into one of the rooms and everybody was just thrown about, and I thought they were part of a team or something. And
it was embarrassing. And I would never do events. I think if I was to do events, which I wouldn't, but definitely get involved. Get the people in, right. Introduce yourself, introduce the team, show them what the equipment is, the plan. You know what I mean? During this investigation, you might get split up into 5 teams of 2 or whatever. And what we'll do is we'll maybe group all the lasses together, and you can go to whatever area. The guys can go there, and then we can swap out and get everybody involved. You know what I mean? But that day it was like you walked in, it was like who's who? I don't know what's going on here.
I don't have a clue. And as you slate Spig, you slate us and that, but it could also put them off the paranormal. A paranormal thing the other night. It was absolute crap. So I'm done. I'm done.
You know yourself, there's nothing better than getting a new face out with you or a couple of new faces and getting them out and getting stuff and seeing the excitement on their face. And it's going to sound a bit of fear. I always like to see a bit of fear on somebody's face, and it just makes it that bit more. You know what I mean? Like you're doing it right. That's the way I see it. You know you're doing it right. If you see the excitement and the joy, and then they're talking about it after it, and it's like they're still in contact with you. I've still got people who are still in contact with me, and they'll get me messages now and then and stuff like that. But you know that you've done it right. You know that they've went out and enjoyed themselves, and they're probably still talking about it this day. I was out with this team, and this happened, and honestly, it was crazy. It's the third thing it was coming through the recording. My name actually gets said, things like that. You know what I mean? Rather than, as you said, getting people out and going, aye, right, so, what we're going to do is this, and that's it. Just fend for yourself. You don't do that. It doesn't matter if it's a paid location, a public event, whatever, or an abandoned location, private location. If there's new people out there, you want to give them the best experience. Well, it's not to say it's guaranteed, because obviously you might not get any communication whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you've went out your way and showed them interest, you know what I mean? You're interested in them and make sure they're all right and this and that and explaining stuff. Then it makes it kind of worth their while, even if you get absolute nothing. Well, obviously, it's better if you do get stuff, and as I said, if you see that fear in their face, oh no, that's what I like.
That's quite so. But no, you're right. It's like Friday night. I mean, I keep saying the guy owns the cottage. We'll call him Jim. He's here. Obviously, we've been in contact a lot with him. We've been up and down to the cottages and getting tours and stuff like that. And it was just Friday night. I text him because he says, "Will let me know when you're coming back here." Friday night, I text him. I said, "Listen, we're heading to the Kirk tonight. If you want to come down," and so he came along, and we didn't like to take part in the investigation. He just wanted to watch, and he didn't like being camera for personal reasons. And so we done the investigation at the plot and what have you. And I says to him after it, I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he says, "I totally get it." He says, "I totally get what was going on there. And a lot of it makes fucking, excuse the French, a lot of it makes fucking sense." And we didn't try to convince him. We just, he sat in the grass and just watched what was going on. And we didn't, say to him, "Did you hear that? Did you hear this? Did you see it?" We did say him about the REM pod phone, before we started. Did you? He says, "I heard it." But he was buzzing, and he mailed me earlier on the night, any feedback, any follow-up, what's happening. And he's talking about what we can do. He's coming up with ideas for the next investigation.
I bet you feel good about that, but
it is, because it's let the guy see that what goes on, and I know he's got a lot of unanswered questions. And I think Friday night, I'm not saying we're not fantastic or anything, but because we think we were able to identify who is actually at that cottage, it's kind of put his mind. He did say to me after, he says, I feel better now knowing that who it is that's messing about at the college. Not college. Cottage. And he did say, he says, it's put my mind at ease. But he was talking earlier on, and he's found quite a few things up there. They want, he says, can we use this at the next investigation to see if we get a reaction, to see if it ties in, stuff like that. And so it's not that you're trying to convince them that the paranormal's there. You're just saying, look, you sit there and watch, tell me what you think, see what happens.
It's completely up to them what their beliefs are, you know what I mean? Well, it's absolute rubbish. But again, I think it all comes down to the experience. But I always say to people as well on the live and on podcasts and who I'm talking to, like, and I think I said it on your podcast and I commented, like, patience. Patience is one of the big things that you need in the paranormal, especially in Scotland in the winter.
Oh, in the winter, definitely.
You know what I mean? And patience is, and to me, there's people that are teams that are willing to just got that patience, and I mean, say patient, I mean 2 hours in a room in the freezing cold, trying whatever you can activity before you move to another area. You know what I mean? That's patience. A lot of people would be like, and dedication, and a lot of people would be like, nope, too cold, I'm away. I mean, so you need a lot of patience. It's like, there's locations you can go in as soon as you walk in, bang. I mean, you're getting stuff, but then it kind of trickles away usually, or whatever. There's locations you go, you could spend 3, 4, 5 hours, and you're lucky if you even get a cat ball flashing. And then, just as you're ready to pack up and thinking, right, well, I'm not really going to get much, then you start getting activity. And I think that's all falls back on patience. The spirits possibly understand that you're there and you're being patient and you're waiting for them to communicate when they feel the time's right, or whatever they need to do to communicate. But patience is always key, and especially like if you're as back to the public sort of stuff. You know what I mean? It's like that one I was at, there was no patience there or nothing. It was like, you were there too, but there was no patience. It was just like go, 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 go. And it was like the team was just that so much up in their server or whatever they were. I don't know, but they were all just kind of concentrating on equipment, trying new equipment, rather than saying the folk it's paid a reasonable, I don't know how much it was, but I'd rather probably minimum 50, 60 quid, I don't know, to go, rather than getting them in and showing them, right, we've not tried this for the first time, this is how it works. It might not work because we're just new, we need to figure it out, do you want to come and see, and this and that, be patient with them as well. But again, that's how I would never do public events, because it can all go.
I wouldn't do another one like that. I think we left early. I think we left a couple of hours early or something.
Aye, always.
Because I think we spent about a half of the night sitting in that room.
Aye, roasting.
That's why I ended up saying to folk, right, we just want
just
to
away. Like, I'd love to. I'm thinking about going to, having a chat with the team maybe next year. All your high end, and I do that because a lot of these places claim to be haunted to get people in to make money and that. We all know this. And I'm thinking about maybe next year booking these places to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And places that are mega haunted, right? To go and actually don't call them out or anything like that, but to go, look, we've came in a mega haunted place, and I know it's no guarantees. You could go and it could be mega haunted or whatever. But what people are saying is, like, oh, you go to this room, you know what I mean, room whatever, 209, you're going to guarantee this and guaranteed that, and go in there, and you know what I mean, go and communicate how you're communicating, whatever questions you're asking, and not necessarily debunk it, but say, look, this isn't as haunted as it's made out to be. You're wasting your money.
It is. We love Greyfriars. I've spoken with Greyfriars so many times. We love it. We've been there. Don't know how many times, lost count. But you get obviously investigations are banned now, but before that, you got all these teams, and the Greyfriars is called the most haunted kirkyard in the world, basically, in the UK, but in the world. And you had all these teams prior to the ban, and there was a few teams went in after the ban, mind you, but and they were all saying that they picked up in the Mackenzie Poltergeist, they picked up in George Mackenzie, and all that kind of stuff. Now we're quite friendly with Jamie Christophin, who lives and breathes. He works in Greyfriars basically, and we investigated there before we found out about the ban. We never get anything except one night, and it was seconds we picked up on a mail, just no far from the Mackenzie tomb. It wasn't George Mackenzie, but it was like 3 or 4 seconds if we were lucky, and then gone. But all these teams we encountered the Mackenzie Poltergeist, and we met George Mackenzie. He's definitely there.
Again, that's just because it's in the record books. And do you know what a big one is now, and it has been maybe for the past year? 30 East Drive. Now, I've not spoke to the team in ages, but I remember when they first went to it, years and years ago, before Spig was even started, they actually booked for the full weekend.
As Sarah's saying about Greyfriars, we've done a 3 AM one as well.
Aye.
I know how
they booked a full weekend, and how I'd imagine it was probably a pretty penny. They spent one night and then they came home. They said it was a total waste of money. Now, I've seen teams go, X amount of teams, loads of teams that go to 30 East Drive, kind of bigger names, and they get a lot of views, all the usual stuff. They all kind of hang on to each other to try and get views and subs and all this bloody carry on, pay-per-views and stuff like that. They all kind of tend to kind of stick in the same group. Oh, when they go, by Christ, the activity, it rises for some reason. I don't know if it's maybe the spirits go, hold on, they get quite a lot of views on Facebook. And they do pay-per-views, so we're going to make it worth their while. Where for these wee teams go and get nothing. You know what I mean? It must be, spirits must be wise to that. So I'd love to go to, for starters, I'd love to go to 30 East Drive. I think that's maybe the first one we look at going maybe next year. Going with the mindset to get nothing.
I don't know about East Drive. To me, GSI has done East Drive. We get the chance to do it. I think it was last year. We had the chance to do it for free. It was GSI were filming and I think it was the Wednesday they were going. And John phoned me on the Monday and says, "Look, we've got East Drive on Wednesday night, absolutely free. We've got it the whole night. Come down." But it just wasn't possible with work and babysitters and all the rest of it. I says, "Look, John, if he gave us a bit of notice, then fine. But like 2 days is." We just couldn't. It wasn't possible. I says to the rest of the team, if any want to go, then go. Everybody else was saying, no.
It's not.
So I don't know about East Drive. I watched the film when the lights went out.
Aye. It's not a thing. It's not a location I've went, I'd love to do that, because when you start getting wise to these places, I watched a documentary on it, and basically every team, and I say every team, all your bigger ones down south and all that sort of stuff, entertainment teams, there's always banging that comes from next door. Always banging. Mm-hmm. It's a wee old woman that stays herself. She's never heard anything. Nothing. Never heard anything coming from next door. Absolute nothing. Nothing. Well, and I it's never really interested me, but I like the idea of maybe next year going to these places, 30 East Drive, the kind of well-known ones that claim to be mega haunted, and the bigger teams and all this, and the ones that got all the views and all that sort of malarkey carry on, claim to be mega haunted. I'd love to go to these places next year with a mindset, hoping to get absolute nothing. Nothing.
Aye, nothing. Well, we get nothing. But the other side of the coin is, see East Drive, for example, if you did go East Drive one night and you get nothing, folk are going to say, well, the spirits were having an off night.
No, because see, like the bigger teams, so it'd be like, I don't know, I'll not say the names, I can't even bother with them, but you know who all the bigger teams are, you know what I mean? And so it'll be like, big team will go on the Friday night, they'll be mega stuff, lampshade swinging, mega stuff. And then another bigger team that obviously they'll collaborate with and stuff like that, they'll then go on the Saturday, and they'll go, mega stuff, couldn't sleep at night, absolutely horrendous, Teletalk, all that sort of stuff. And then the following week, another bigger team would go, or a kind of well-known team, or entertainment team, whatever. Take loads, absolute loads. But yet, when you go back to years ago with the team, I wasn't in the team, I just kind of knew them through another team. Just a normal kind of small Scottish team. Kept themselves to themselves. They went for the full weekend and got absolutely nothing. And that's how I was saying, these spirits know, oh, they're a big team. We need to put on a show for them tonight. Because they're a big team, they get loads of views, and they get the pay-per-view, you know, £5 subscriptions. We need to put a show on. But I want to go to these places with the mindset, getting in here, absolute nothing. Because if it's claimed to be that haunted, these locations, although you can go to locations and get nothing, surely you're going to get some sort of. So if it's claimed to be that haunted and poltergeist activity and stuff like that, then surely you're going to get something, especially if you do a bit of provoking. And I do like a bit of provoking. And so I'm pretty sure if I go to Fair East Drive and do a good bit of provoking, I will get activity. That's what I reckon. But I'm hoping I don't.
Yeah, well, there's a question for you. I know it's Kate's just asking how you are, I know how I am, but that's all right, Kate's fine. I'm
all right, Kate. Just rattling on. You know, on Scott's show, as I said on the comment, he used to start paying me to come on, take my free time out here.
Yeah, as I said earlier on, I put your proposal to our board of investors, and it says 7 to 10 working years. You should.
I'm not cheap.
You know, you should feel honoured that you're on here.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right, Kate. Hope you're well.
No, I mean,
I think it's a good idea. Because as I said, if I was to go there with a mindset or nothing and calling out, and if I do like doing a bit of provoking, then I think it's going to be done right though. I know there's no really a right way to do provoking, but I think it's going to be kind of in some sort of manner. But if I go there, and if it is, as they say, you know, the usual poltergeist, all that sort of stuff, if I do provoking, then surely I should get some. Surely. If I fish them off, I should get some sort of activity. But if I don't, then it just tells you that it's I know it's a whole load of insanity with the activity teams are getting.
What curries we're talking about? Sausage rolls. They'll get paid in sausage rolls.
Oh no, it's got to be cold sausage rolls, but
I'll buy you. They sell 4 in a pack up in
brown sauce.
Oh no, you just destroyed that there. But no, again, I'll get back to Greyfriars. You know, there's so many teams done there. When are you going? Have you been to Stoke Museum? They have the original door. I've not been.
No. But again, it's hyped up. And that's just one of the locations. There's not even just in Britain. You know what I mean? All over the world, there's these locations. And what happens is, there's a team, say, this is the way I would see it. So we'll say 30 Drive since we're talking about it, right? So they've kept it as is and stuff like that. Or whatever. There's a team that said, oh, can I come and investigate one night? And they went, oh, what would we charge? £600. Aye, £600 for the night. They get a quick £600 and it's, oh, she's brilliant. You know what I mean? Then they advertise it the following week. Oh, can I get it's £600. There's they made £1,200 a week.
It's a money making machine.
That's all it is. That is all it is. You know what I mean? That is all it is. That's it. When we went to a private location in Saturday, we went expecting to get nothing. And we got some good stuff, some good EVPs. We get the breath on the side, the camera, bits and balls like K2 going and stuff like that. Now, we went expecting nothing. that location isn't known to be all this mega haunted stuff. You know what I mean? Like most locations are made out to be. And we go to some activity, so the way I see it is we go to a location, a mega haunted location, again I'll say 30 East Drive since we're talking about it, then surely we should get some sort of activity. When I say some sort, I don't mean just a cat ball flashing. I don't like that. I'm talking about like things getting moved or thrown. Like people claim it happens all the time. And I say people, I say the bigger teams that claim that it happens all the time. Because if they go to a location like 30 East Drive and it's flat and there's absolutely nothing and they're live, their viewing is going to drop. It is going to drop. That is why they keep it. Oh, it's all this and it's all that. And, oh man, oh. That's why they do it, because their viewings would drop. And I'd love just to go. Well, it's not what these people are making it to be.
They need to maintain it. There's Kate asking when you're coming to Chicago, Rigga.
I'll come tomorrow. I'll book a taxi.
You know, you're coming at some point, Scott, yes, but she's asking you, you don't want Rigga. He'll not fit in the plane. You see the size of him in real life.
Well, I'm supposed to be going to Long Island next year, but I don't even know how far away that is for Chicago. That could be 2 days away. I don't know.
Don't know fit him in the door, and put him underneath in the cargo, but you know what I mean? Give him a mask. But no, I mean, these shows it's the same as when shows, it's one that springs, I'm not going to name the show, but they done Pendle. This is a few years ago. And we've covered the Pendle story extensively. I'm going to use that posh word, you know, the lives and all the rest of it. And this TV show done Pendle. They went to Sadler's Farm. They went to, I'm going back maybe 10, 15 years. They went to different locations in Pendle. One location they went to was Tyndale Farm. And the medium was saying that all the witches were coming over. They've been doing the basement of this Tyndale Farm. And he says, oh, there's 3 witches here. Or the rest of them are coming over. They're on their way. And they're sacrificing babies here. But see, if you actually know the Pendle story, Tyndale Farm didn't exist in 1612. When, you know, obviously the accused, they weren't the witches that were innocent. But that law was making them out they were real evil witches, sacrificing babies in a building that never existed in 1612. That has always puzzled me why Tyndale Farm has been added into the Pendle story, because it wasn't there.
It's just to draw attraction. That's what it is. And that's the way these people work. And it's not to say that locations you go in, some of them are cheap, you know what I mean? Get some at reasonably priced and stuff. It's not to say that they're no haunted, but it's the way people look. I went to Stirling Jail, right? And done a bit of research on it. The usual history, ghost stories and stuff like that, X, Y, and Z, and teams, and looked into teams it's been, and the activity was unbelievable, right? So unbelievable the activity for Stirling Jail, you know. Old jail. It's not the original jail. The original jail's across the road. I don't know what that is now. But the bars and all that are still there and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. Stirling Jail itself was interesting just for the history part. But these teams just went, it was like unbelievable. There was folk getting possessed. Absolutely possessed. Crazy. So we went, and I'm automatically thinking, right, I'm dead sceptical when it comes to things like that, people saying this and saying that. So I just went with an open mind. Get absolutely nothing. The only thing that we got was the cat balls that were going, which there's a wee courtyard as you go up the stairs and it's outside, right? Now bear in mind it's windy, right? So stuff like that, cat balls are gone, possibly could have been the wind. The only thing we got was I put my recorder in a room with a wee pink guitar, because it was known obviously there was kids there and stuff like that, a wee pink guitar, and just shut the door and just left it the following night. So when the next day or the next couple of days I went back to listen to the footage, the audio, and it was about 5 hours long. So I'm sitting. I heard one strum of the guitar, one single strum, it went boom. and that was it. And I say guitar, might have not been, sound like a guitar, but the guy that he does a lot with Stirling, he'll dress up and stuff like that during the day and does entertainment things and gets into like character but he's there when you're investigating, right? So me and Brian, it was in the team at the time, done the camera work and stuff like that. We went and had a chat with him. He's been there for 30, 35 years or something like that. He basically told us it's a load of crap.
Mm-hmm.
It is a load of crap. It's for money. He never said it in any words, but that's what he meant. He said he's been there 35 years, the amount of teams that come and go. He said there's not been one sighting, not been one noise, and there was no reason for him to lie. He was just a dead straightforward guy. And he's like, look, he said, I've done this for 35 years during the day and at night when teams are in. I've been in here myself at night. Maybe like, I don't know if he maintained it as well at times. And he says, basically, there has not been one single thing in here. Nothing. He said, it is a load of crap.
All these teams go in and claim to get that. That's like Mark Eggleston, he's on Sunday. Now, Mark's been doing paranormal for over 40 years. And I've talked to Mark quite a bit. And he did a TV show, very famous TV show. And they covered, they done East Drive as well. But they covered this other location. And Mark says, they get more activity in the 45 minutes of the show than he's had in 40 years. Basically, he was saying the show was crap. It was all fake. He says, I've been doing this over 40 years, Scott, and they get more activity in 45 minutes than I have in all that time I've been doing it. You know, and Mark's straight up. Mark, you don't get any more genuine than Mark Eggleston. And so, it's, you know, as it shows, they put it on, and, you know, these teams go out and they're trying to sell our Jennifer, an American team, called it to sell the ghost, basically. It's quite big in America. A lot of places in America tend to do it. They call it selling the ghost. They'll say this place is haunted, so-and-so haunts here, blah, blah, blah. People pay X amount of dollars, go along, and, you know, nothing. Or they'll get somebody making it up for them. That's why we like to go. It's like Greyfriars. Greyfriars, team after team have been in. There was Hunters activity, Mackenzie Poltergeist, etc., etc. We've done Greyfriars at all different times of day. I'll emphasise again, before we knew about the ban. And as Sarah put in the comments, we done it at 3 o'clock one morning, and it was a total waste of time. Our batteries lasted about 10, 15 minutes each, and that was it. We were heading home by about 3:30. We've never, apart from that one minute time, we have never picked up on anything. And there's these teams that say that they met the Mackenzie Poltergeist. That's bollocks. There's no documented evidence that George Mackenzie haunts Greyfriars at all. And that comes to Jamie Gustafson as well.
I was there that day, he says, and he knows his stuff. You know what I mean? I'd rather listen to him than what I would the articles.
He knows Greyfriars inside out, and there is no. But you'll still get teams that will say, "Aye, George Mackenzie's real. He still haunts Greyfriars." It doesn't. It's crap.
It's like they're still in jail. Obviously, he's told it, and the thing is, he told us before we even really investigated. So straight away, I'm like, just wasted money. But I was glad that he told us. And the thing is, there's teams that are still investigating, I'd imagine.
They will.
And because it's a paranormal investigation, then it's going to be haunted. Wherefore, if they book it out for the day to go for the tour, which you can during the day, these paranormal investigators, they wouldn't see it as haunted, but because they're paying for a paranormal investigation and they're possibly taking members, I think it was quite dear as well. I think it was like £500 or something, £600 maybe. But we just done it as a team. We never took any members of the public or anything. And he told us basically, no in any words, but there's nothing here. They're doing it for money. That's basically what it came down to.
I mean, there are there are locations here in the UK and in America that do, events and stuff that are genuinely haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Edinburgh Manor, for one, Can't William.
But no, there's definitely ones out there.
There is.
But I just think it's ruining it as well because I think it's maybe like, do you see that? Right, I don't know if I'm going to word this right because I'm not really good at my words. I'm a bit of a dope one. But I kind of see it as disrespectful, like using the spirits like a circus act. That's the way I see it. Like, book, like booking out locations. So I own a, I don't know, haunted castle, and I'm booking it out every single weekend. To me, that just seems like, come and see my puppets. You know what I mean? Come and communicate with them. Come and see my circus. Using the spirits. In a sense, does that make sense? I don't know.
It is disrespectful, and I mean that's it's no one of these, but that's why we like small unknown locations.
Aye.
Take Loudon Cut, take Caldwell, Stair. Look at the activity we've had at Stair. Now you ask anybody, do you know where Stair is? And they're like, no.
Aye.
I mean, I've spoke to a few people and they say, where's that? Where's Stair? So it's in Ayrshire, Never heard it, mate.
It's things like that you want. It's places like that.
You go there and you get activity. You get what you're looking for, basically. And you know that it's genuine and there's nobody on the other side of the fence throwing a brick or, whatever.
See, the thing is as well, like, I'm sounding if I'm contradicting myself here, but also we went to Dublin, we went to like Castle, and that's known to be haunted. It is. And you can go in during the day. You can genuinely just go to Sean that owns it and chat with the door and say, can I come in for a day tour? And he'll let you in free of charge. And he'll go in the castle. He's built his own kind of house in the castle. It's weird. He's in wee kind of sectioned off thing where he's got everything. He needs a kitchen and all that sort of stuff. And he's in wee section in the castle. But he'll let you in during the day. He's no bothered with the money. But he'll charge you for an investigation at night. That's because you're keeping him up all night, basically. You know what I mean? And he'll have the fire going for you to keep you warm. And you'll get breakfast and teas and coffee and that in the morning, which is fine. And the way I went thinking, right, I was excited to go, done a wee bit of research on it and stuff like that, and spoke to Fuck Paranormal and Jenny and stuff like that, and they were telling us about stories and all this. And we did get activity. Like, we got activity and stuff we can't. Me, Stephen and David were in the same room at night. We were kind of settling down because we spent the night there, obviously. And it was a long haul to the island, so we kind of had an early night about 2 or 3 o'clock or something. But there was genuine footsteps in the room, and when you go in that room, and it's a heavy-duty door, and you lock it. We locked it for the inside just to make sure that nobody could get in. And as you come in, there's a big curtain that you can pull across. Never pulled that across. We just shut the door. We woke up in the morning after hearing the footsteps and stuff like that during the night. The curtain was shut. The curtain was shut right across. We never touched the curtain, and it was only us in there. And you can't get in. As soon as that door's locked, nobody can get in. So there is locations there that is, and then also we get the photo that I say looks like John Wick. The very last photo we took before we left, where it looks like a butler with a tie and all that sort of stuff on. But there is locations there, but it's the way I like the way that Sean conducted himself, because he was straight talking, typical Irish guy, just straight talking. Said he's been there for, I can't remember, 30 years or whatever it is, and he says, look, I know that there's spirits here. I've seen them. I've spoke to them. He says we've got a mutual agreement. This is now my property, but it's still their property. He said we're used to it now. It's not the case that, oh no. And he said that's what it is. So if you find something, you find something. If you don't, you don't. And it was just dry. You know what I mean? And I liked that, rather than, it's, you don't want to be left in that room yourself. Because straight away I'm like, talking crap. But I knew that it was haunted. I knew there was something there that, when I met him, because he was just straight to the point.
This is how it is. No, I mean, but no, he was just like, this is how it is. On you go, and
that's what he said. He said, look, I've seen. He was telling us what things that he'd seen and heard and stuff like that. He never went, stay out of that room, anything like that. It was just like, he'd investigate. You had like a wee kind of, he'd lay like kind of rules down. Not so much rules, but just like kind of after like 1 o'clock, if you can just slightly keep, because you're in a castle, it's not really a big massive castle. But he built it up for start. Well, it was already built, but he started obviously renovating it out and doing all his sales still working on it. But about 1 o'clock, he would say if you can just kind of keep, like, if you're using equipment like speakers, just kind of keep them down a bit, which obviously you respect. But he was straight to the point. He would say it was something like, "Aye, this is what I was getting." So if you find anything brilliant, if you don't, he's like, "I'll do my way into my room, into my wee house," and that was it. And I liked that because I was like, "This guy's genuine. This guy's genuine."
Aye, he's just straight down the earth. But I think we'll wind it up there, young man. I mean, consider it was nothing in particular. We've been on for an hour and 40 minutes.
Well, before you go, as I said on my post, also we don't know what we're talking about, and I said we could end up talking about the squirrels eat chewing gum.
I don't know. Now, that is a valid point. Do squirrels eat chewing gum? I would say no.
No?
No, I would say squirrels don't eat chewing gum.
See, I don't know. If you get a wee hungry squirrel and there's a wee bit of spearmint chewing gum there, they might go. Maybe something to chat about for the next time.
Yeah, we'll make that our next thingy. Do squirrels
Eat chewing gum.
We nearly stayed serious, folks. We started off a bit silly, and then nearly maybe if it's not peppermint. We're seeing Kate next Tuesday, I believe it is. I think it's Tuesday. Back on with John Ozuna, and you'll also be seeing her when we cover Alcatraz as well. So maybe if it's not peppermint. I don't know. I don't know many squirrels.
Something to look into. It could be What I do know is Disney makes squirrels to be all this wee cute things singing and dancing. Squirrels are vicious as anything. They're vicious.
Okay. Right.
But Disney make them out to be all. I don't even know what films squirrels are in, but I think they're squirrels in Disney films. But they make them out to be all nice and pretty. No. Total opposite. Especially when they've had some of that chewing gum.
Aye, you're just talking crap now, actually.
Did they, but just as we're on the squirrel thing, I'm telling you. Did they?
I don't have any answer for you, I'm afraid. So on that note, folks, I do apologise for like it. Can you give us a song like a Disney style? Go on. I'll allow it. I'll sanction it.
Don't even know a Disney song. Well, for Lindsay does, Lindsay's Disney daft. Lindsay could tell you every single song.
Bare Necessities. A Jungle Book. Baloo the bear sings Bare Necessities to Mowgli.
It's a bare necessity. That's what I know.
Is that it?
Wait, Disney and all, by the way, since we're on the subject. I'm pretty sure every Disney film, I think it's mainly cartoons, there's a clock and it's in each one and it's always sitting at 10 to 2, representing a smiley face. Pretty sure I've seen that as
well. Right. So there's no got a squirrel sitting on top of eating a bit of Wrigley's.
Could be. Hubba bubba. We don't know.
Tap it. That's bubble gum, no chewing gum, behave. So you've not got a squirrel sitting on the top of it. No.
On top of the clock?
Aye, top of the clock.
Just eating chewing gum?
Just eating chewing gum. The clock is sitting at 10 to 2. You got a squirrel eating chewing gum sitting on top of it. What about that?
Oh.
No.
Aye, things we chat about.
We're going to wind it up there, folks, before he starts talking any more rubbish. You know what I mean? So what's up?
Did you know? Nah, I'm all joking.
What's up next for Spike?
I'm taking this weekend out. Going to spend some time with the family. Possibly head out to maybe a wee band location next week, but we're away down to Manchester on the 28th with Paranormal Penny Pinchers. So we're going down there on the 28th and we're back up on the 30th. We're going down there to the escape rooms in Stockport and investigate it. So try and go live as much as possible as well. We might be doing 2 investigations this Saturday. Escape rooms and then possibly an abandoned location. So I know, looking forward to that.
So give them a look up, folks, because they will be out and about somewhere.
Got to try and cover as much live as possible. Well, that's just driving down and kind of get a wee laugh and let people kind of see that we do get a laugh.
Road trip. Road trip.
Rather than always being constantly, you know what I mean? So going to kind of try and cover as much as we can. But the Friday will just be, I think we're going for a meal and all that with the team and the panel with penny pinchers and organising the Saturday and going for there and maybe talk about Disney films and squirrels, I don't know. But we're going down there on the 20th of July.
We'll wind it up there, folks. You know, I can only apologise for Rigga at the end. I don't have any other words. That's us for today. We'll be back on Sunday with Mark Egerton. We'll be talking about, Mark will be telling us about the legendary, the Shuck, the Devil Dog. Mark's going to be telling us all about that. So feel free to join us and pop in any questions. And then next week we have the lovely Kate, who was in the comments there, and Mr. John Ozuna coming back on. We're starting a monthly show. So we're starting that next week. And that's it for now. We might be out investigating. I don't know. In the next couple of days, I don't know. Wait and see. If we are, we'll be doing this alive. So you'll find out anyway. All right, chaps. So big thanks to Rigga. Also, I'll keep a hold of you for 3 seconds after we come off.
Thanks for having me.
Because I can't talk about squirrels or chewing gum.
If you want to check us out, head over to Scotland's Paranormal Investigations Group and give us a wee check it and see the footage and all the stuff we've been up to as well. So be part of the Spig family.
Right, you done?
I could keep going all night. I'm in one of the moods. You're probably best just to end the next. I'll just keep chatting.
I'm probably just kicking you out.
I'm that way. I'm just. It's been a long day, honestly. So that way I'm just chatting. It's by my bedtime. So that way I'm just chatting, and I get this. So I probably best to end it.
See what I mean? He's really shutting up.
We can stay on if you want.
No, you're all right. I've got a fried screen to eat, I think. I've got a carry because I'm going out to shave my grass. Sorry, I forgot. I was going to do that this afternoon, but I'm going to go out and shave the grass. I bought a new big razor. I'm going to go out and shave the grass. That comes first.
Got to do it tonight?
I'm going to go out the new.
Big black cape, coat and all that one.
And then I'm going to go and paint the neighbour's grass pink. See his face in the morning when he wakes up and he's got pink grass. Well, I mean, right, we're going to end it.
Aye, because you're falling into the same category as me here.
I'm falling into the Rigga zone, and that's not a good place to be because once you get in, you need a
you can't get back out. That's it.
You need a wetsuit and a diver's helmet to get back out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've been warned about painting the grass before, but you know, I need to do it. Because it would be nice to have some different colour of grass. Because grass is always green. Why am I going to go there and paint the grass? Pink, yellow, blue, black, red, whatever colour.
Black grass would be nice.
Black grass would be nice. You wouldn't see it in the dark.
Cut right short, but
so
nice black grass.
Black grass, and you were outside with no light whatsoever. You would think you were standing in space.
You would. You could even put like wee diamonds in that in it, so it kind of sparkles.
Rainbow colour, right? Diamonds. No, you just.
So it kind of it's like stars, you know. Like
I
don't know. We're going to our conversation here.
What was that? What was it? What was that? That was sort of you been popping these Smarties again.
Oh, it's just coffee. I don't know if it's because it was in that. It's just coffee.
Buy decaf. That's my advice to you. Decaf.
It's been a long day, and it's by my bedtime, and I kind of get to that kind of hyper stage, and Lindsay moans at me all the time because when I'm in bed, I just chat absolute garbage.
That's why God invented pillows to put out your head.
Yes. Need an awful big one to put out your heat.
I know. And this big, beautiful dome that Shrek respects. Right, we're going to. We are. Is it normal coffee or special coffee? Bit of whiskey or something in it.
No. It's normal coffee.
Normal coffee.
I'll
Right,
pay in the morning.
there, folks, before he talks any more trash.
I'm just excited to go on the show.
I know, so is everybody else, but it's time to go. You've been on the show.
Oh, wait, you're the one that can end it.
So I'm the one that can press the button. So stop calling so I can press the button. Because you've been on the show, it's time to go. And we all know. We'll see you night, folks, but we're still safe, or we usually still safe. So thanks for coming in, and we'll see you again Sunday. And you'll see this clown probably outside licking lampposts or something like that.
More likely. Or fences.
With a man neon in goggles. Well, you need to wear the goggles in case it's raining.
Aye.
And a snorkel.
Scott, you're keeping it going.
I know. Right, you're right, folks. Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.